Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday already, hump day for some people. For us, no, awesome day, because it's another masterclass part of a hackathon, so a longer session with the amazing Joe Allam. Hello Joe, how you doing?
Hello, hello. How's everyone else doing? I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling, if this is a word, fantastic. I enjoyed soaking up the vitamin D yesterday. It was very lovely and bright out in London, and yeah, I'm feeling refreshed, feeling energized, and good to get in and design some things.
Excellent. I think fantastic should be a word if it's not already. So there you go. It should be. Very good word. Excellent. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. Of course, we've got our usual crowd hanging around in the chat here. We've got Sean and Andreas. We've got Sandrine. We've got some guy called Tim. Hi, Tim, in the background. We've got Stephen. Oh, man, we've got so many people in here. We've got Nitin in here. Steve from New Zealand. Kia ora, Steve. And we've got Emma. Oh, lovely Emma. Angus is here. Oh, fantastic. Loads of people. Very good. Now, don't forget, peeps, if you're not one of the people I just mentioned just now, and you're watching on YouTube, that's not the right place to go. You can't get involved in this amazing chat. I will never know your name. Oh, shockers. Right, what you need to do is come across to behance.net/Adobe Live, and you can join us there, get involved with the community. All good stuff, wouldn't you say, Joe?
Absolutely, yeah. And likewise, if you want to send your message on a postcard, free post, Joe Allam, and we'll get back to you next week.
Awesome. So we're continuing our page layout journey today, right? And we're going to. There's a challenge for this. There's a challenge for this one, right? With prizes and stuff.
So is this the part where we try and do our one-time rehearsal? Because we have
our book handle.
We're working on a book layout of things.
Yep.
And one of the prizes was we'd like to hand out a book, but also I believe there's a Creative Cloud subscription up for grabs. But first of all, the book. Tony, what's the book that we're sending?
The book is Grid Systems, Raster Systems. Just there. And if I just pass mine over to you, Joe.
Ah, great, thank you. Yeah,
I did it the wrong way this time.
Not at all smooth. But yes, so. This is a book that I reference frequently. It is a great book of typographic detail, grids, guidelines, and all sorts. It's bilingual in English and German. It's a pretty old book, but it's been republished a number of times, and for the most part, the structural integrity of it is very much technically correct and good to live by for typography. So. It's a great book for reference. I frequently look into it and whatever. And in fact, even before doing this little project, I've had some quick flick through on all sorts. So yeah, if you didn't catch the first stream, which is on Monday, so we're doing 3 streams, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm creating a bit of a book layout. We're not necessarily doing a full book. I think that's a little bit unreasonable to expect a complete book to be created and published. But we're doing a bit of a book layout, and the aim is to add in some photos and a bit of text to sort of live by the idea of returning to travel. So it's making a book. I mean, this is the type of book that I would personally make for myself anyway, of featuring some of my images over the last few years and, reminding me of how much I love travel and how much I miss travel, given the fact that it's been quite restricted the last year and a half. So we are working towards that. And in the first stream, we went through a lot of details on the setup and quite technical approach of things. So setting up First of all, your page. How big do you want your book? And for reference, this book I am looking to have about this sort of size, which is B5. So B5 is kind of in between A5 and A4 if you're used to standard A series.
B sizes are
sizings.
great.
Yeah, I love B5. There's just something like really kind of intimate about it, but not, it's not teeny. It's not cumbersome. Slots into a backpack amazingly. I love the way they look on a shelf. But mostly just, I don't know, just holding something of this size is like, it's got the right amount of heft to it. And if you went into a bookshop and measured them by heft, hopefully that would be, somewhere in the average range. So the book, the book that we were creating. So I started off. I did some introduction to some of my theories behind setting up column structures, margins, my sort of ratios that I like to work with on the margins for inside margins and outside, and then set it up. Then I started setting up some paragraph styles and going through and creating some things. So it was quite a technical and upfront process on things. And generally, when we do these types of things, there's, as I mentioned all the time, it's like the amount of legwork that's upfront saves you so much time in the long run. It
absolutely
gives you the opportunity to, set yourself some sort of guidelines, and you don't always have to stick by your guidelines. You can break them, you can change them, but it gives you the opportunity to then move on and quickly tweak and change things and keep it consistent. Nothing worse than changing direction and then having to spend most of your time going through and just adjusting things that have broken and things that have changed. So paragraph styles are a great way of essentially labeling certain bits of text, whether that's a text box entirety or a paragraph in itself within a text box, and saying this is known as this. And then later down the line, if, for example, this is my header, later down the line, if I want to go and change my header sort of details, such as the font, I can go through and I can do that as part of my paragraph style, and it will update my whole book. So this is one of the best things, and it still surprises me how many designers don't properly use paragraph styles. So this is my personal mission. Tony, if you'd like to embark on me on this personal mission of getting paragraph styles,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, especially Joe, I think that if you're a freelancer, if you work for yourself and you're producing this stuff, but the real realization of the investment in doing the work the way you've done it is when those changes come along. Yeah, because clients sometimes they like go, no,
yeah,
just do this or just do that. And when you set up something with this kind of structure, all you need to do is change the root of the structure, and it propagates throughout everything else. And I think that's where it comes in, rather than dragging, trawling through things to find small things and make changes in many places. Make it in one place and have it go throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, I think we've all been there, where you're doing some work and what we asked for, now that we see it, we realize we probably shouldn't have asked for that. Like, that's kind of what a brand wants to say. That's what the designer wants to hear. It's fine to change your mind. But when a brief shifts and changes, absolutely, it's all about the upfront legwork.
Yeah,
which some people probably don't enjoy. It's maybe the boring bit of design, but it's the bit that I love the most. So
yeah, but the exciting bit is when the money comes in and you've actually realized the profit out of doing it rather than just working for nothing.
Yeah, definitely. So this is kind of where we left it on Monday. So I created some paragraph styles, dropped in an image. It's just a print preview. W is my favorite shortcut in InDesign. Actually, this reminds me, this is a funny thing. So when you freelance a lot, you get to experience a lot of offices, and you jump into places and all sorts of different equipment. One thing that really stood out to me is the amount of keyboards that are just disgusting. Like, they're dirty.
Oh, and, no, I don't like that.
Yeah, I always made a point of either bringing my own keyboard or like just giving it a quick wipe down with an alcohol wipe.
Yeah.
But I started to notice something that actually just made me chuckle every time. Going into certain agencies where I was expecting to do a lot of InDesign work, the dirtiest key was the W. It was always the W was just caked in crisp and lunch and all sorts. And it's
over
probably because it
keyboards.
is every designer's favorite shortcut. Just what's it going to look like in print? Boom. Okay, back to work. Print. Yeah. So yeah, W is we'll use that a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was where we left off. So we've got our big sort of heading text, and you know, we're tweaking and working with things, some subheading, some paragraph. I did also create some other paragraph styles for, actually, let's make this a bit bigger. So I created some other paragraph styles for things like captions for images. I have since moved beyond this. So let me show you what I've done since. So
okay.
The key thing you keen-eyed among you may notice is I've actually changed the font that I was using for as my big display type. So I've changed from, I think I was using Kepler before, and I've now found another one on Adobe Live, not on Adobe Live, on Adobe Fonts called Lust. And I feel like it's got enough character to stand out large. You wouldn't want to write big paragraphs in this. It's got a bit of flair to it, a bit of shape, and a bit more, just overall, just a bit more character. If we go back to our original page. So this was how Kepler was looking, and I have also just adjusted the way that the text sort of flows. But I just think the extra
that's lovely
curviness to it. Yeah, it's got a bit more.
It's a little bit like if Lobster and Times had a baby.
Yeah, that definitely.
Lobster and Bodoni had a baby.
So yeah, I've adjusted that. I actually did go into Illustrator, and I just manually positioned and just did some text work and just resized down and just created this little lockup of things, and pasted it directly into InDesign. So I don't necessarily need this edited
Pasted
directly.
it.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Would you rather I dropped it in as a dynamic?
Yeah, I'd rather. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it was me, I would. Yeah, I would place it, because that way, if you find you need to make a change, and also the overhead. There's less overhead on InDesign if it's referencing an external file.
Ah, I didn't know that. See, I thought it was the other way around.
No, when you bring in an Illustrator file, all InDesign has to do is recognize the header, the bit of and that's inside the actual code, the bit that says what sort of file type it is, and its extent, and then it just rasterizes the rest in the background and uses it in that way. So it's like what's called a runtime bitmap, much less than including all of that vector information in there.
Wow. Okay, that's actually really good to know, because that is something that I'd consciously had a thought of for years, of like, well, if I paste it in direct, in my eyes, it seemed as though this was this then became a native thing rather than an alien object in the document. Well, the things you know from working on building the app.
There you go.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, we can do that moving forward. You'll also notice another thing that I've created here is a bit of a like a gradient overlay, just to add in a little bit of a darker area to the bottom of the image, just to sort of fade it in. And again, I'm not going to stress too much over the cover of this, because we are just really sampling just a few sort of layouts and things with these streams. But I could imagine, in terms of a print finish, this could look great with something that's like spot glossed, maybe even a foil stamp into this. Big fan of foil stamping. I do it on. Do I have one available? Yeah,
I do. Right behind me, actually. It lives next to raster systems.
Oh, nice. My postcards I use. Funnily enough, that is the same image. So if anyone in the chat can guess where this is from, this is the image that I use on my postcard design. I hand that out to viewers who I maybe meet at events and stuff, and it's just a nice to meet you sort of thing. Anyway, the front of it is a bit of a foil stamp on there. I'm not sure if that's picking up so much on the camera, but it's just a nice extra detail of like, oh, there's some care and attention that's gone into this.
And that's the thing. Yeah.
So moving on, we've got some extra ideas of things. So I've created a subdescription and some extra, let me turn on this, and some extra sort of like flair and detail on things. So let's have a look in the subdescription, because this is a feature that I use quite a lot and we'll probably be using a lot today. And that's creating paragraph rules. So this subdescription, which is based on the body copy. So I've left the body still at Kepler for the moment. Again, that may change. So the subdescription, we just got a italic subhead and the paragraph rule. So rule below, if I turn that on and off, you'll see that's just this line underneath. And I'm setting a line to be created just to give it a little bit of structure. So what some people may do is they'll have their text and then they'll just go to their line tool and they'll draw some sort of line across, and then they update their design, they move the text away, and then like, oh, I forgot the line. It just opens you up to inconsistencies, and just somewhere down the line, you're going to get lines go wrong. So
see what you did there.
Yeah, didn't even mean to. So paragraph rules, I use them a lot. You can go and further distinguish them. So at the moment, it's just a 0.5. Would you class that as a hairline? It's getting close
half
to
a point. Yeah, maybe I'd go 0.25 if it was a hairline. But then again, if it's going to go on top of color or anywhere near color, that might not be a good idea.
Yeah, you don't want it to just be lost.
Yeah.
And we've got just a solid style on here, but of course you can experiment further. So yeah, if you are looking to create your own layouts and things, which I don't believe we've finished explaining the challenge about.
No, we ought to. Do you want me
layouts.
to do that while you pull some stuff together, or?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay, so what you need to do, people, is you need to provide us with a spread that's 2 pages to view. Okay, so a 2-page layout, okay, that needs to include at least 2 photographs, okay, and a heading, optional subhead, and some paragraph text to go along with it. But just put us a layout together and give it to us in our Discord channel. You can go ahead and upload it. Tim will put the Discord link in the chat. So, of course, this is where you need to be watching on Behance to actually get that, but you'll find it. Make sure we have it by sort of Thursday night. That way we can have a look at it Friday morning before we go live. And somebody's going to win some prizes. Previous winners, by the way, can't win again. You can't like get winning, and carry on extending your subscription into the distance. Doesn't work that way, sadly.
There you are. A combo of subscriptions.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah.
Quick question: Do you ever use object styles as well, Joe?
Yes. So that's actually what I'm about to work on now.
Oh, cool.
I'm just finding some images. In terms of the styles that I may do, would this pair well? This might pair well. Let's drop this in. So yeah, in terms of the sort of styles that I may want to do, I'm not that keen on doing too much, if I'm honest. So I kind of like just images being, in their document and sitting there. But to give you an example of how they could work, so I've just dropped in 2 images here. And if I select one of them, and then we've got our object styles here, and we create a new one. And with that image selected, it's now applied this object style. And let's just call this one, I'm going to give it photo 1 because we may have different options. So within here, this is how I could, create some different styling. So if I wanted to add a bit of a line around it, so add a stroke, we haven't gone as far as adding in custom colors yet. That's coming up in a moment.
Okay.
But let's say for now, let's just do this sort of cyan color. And, you know, just to accentuate it, let's turn on the preview. Object styles are where, you know, you could add in your thing. But as I said, in terms of the actual design that I'm looking towards here, I'm probably not wanting to add too much detail. I kind of like really simplified, just dropped in, just there, just text over it. I may do a little bit more with like drop shadows on things, but again, that doesn't always translate too well on print. But yeah, in short, yes, I use them sometimes, but without leaving you hanging, this is how you create them.
Yeah, there you go. I like the option for adding paragraph styles to an object. So to set up a frame quickly that contains a paragraph style.
Yep. So within the, where do we go? Can we change text? And
so
then
many little rabbit holes to run down.
Yeah, so you could set in your paragraph style directly in there. You could also add in like more specific text color changes. Is that right? In these ones, the effects.
Yep.
Yeah, a few other things. Again, I guess when I'm thinking more for print, I very rarely do like too much variance on things. I think for me, a lot of the variance that I like to get out of a print document is actually on things like the paper itself, and the type of like print finishing. Okay, so let's work out a bit of a layout here. So I may have skimmed past it before, but I had this one that I created last night. You may also notice that I've added in my slug, just a bit of the file name, the date of when it was last updated. I've also dropped in my swatches, which are just auto-generated, and we will go through and we'll create a custom color palette, and then we'll update. So at the moment, we're kind of still designing black and white, and then add in a bit of a custom color palette and start to work on things that way. And I've also added a rule across the center point of my content area. So not necessarily the page, but the content area, and that sits in the master page. So I am the tourist. This is some big text that we're adding here. So I'm loving this idea of just dropping in big text over imagery, and also just maybe a little detail of like a bit of a flag. I'm not quite sure how far I would want to go with this, because some flags can get quite tricky. So
isn't that the wrong way round for the French flag?
Shouldn't
it be blue, white, and red? I'm pretty sure it's there you go, solved.
Yeah, looking at it upside down.
Yeah.
You know what it was? Yesterday when I made this, I made it like this. So I had it over the top because I was using a screen idea, and I was like, oh, I need to move that over, and I'll move it to the same width of the other one, and I've just flipped them.
Mystery solved. There you
go. Yeah, see those little details. That's where you need like someone to review, an editor to look over your stuff and say, this is a Dutch flag, not.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just that, of course, we've got Emma in the chat. So Emma and Sandrine, of course, both of whom Emma's half French. So, and in fact, she's just saying "Merci, Tony." So there you go.
Likewise, I am the tourist is not even a proper sentence, but given the fact that you are a tourist, you don't necessarily know the language. So I'm playing with that.
Perfect.
And I love the shapes that this font is pulling up, like the curvature on the S, and just the way it pulls together. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, this is a bit of an idea for a 2-photo mock-up of things and some text. And let's create another layout that we may want to use. So as much as I'm a fan of big overfilled imagery on things, sometimes you do need to add space, and you don't always want you don't always want your images just to be like full page spread or full bleed. So where am I trying to position this? I'm just going to play around. I'm deciding, do I want to fill my full content area, or do I want to crop it off? And I am going to actually crop this just a little bit that way. Actually, let's just position it. So this is a collection of 2 images. Again, any guesses where these are from? Did anyone guess the...
We had a few guesses in there, actually, Joe. Some people were saying, is it Toronto? Sean said, is it Tulsa? Sandrine said it's definitely not Basildon. So Toronto, somewhere in Japan, Seattle. That was it, really. I think a few people saying Seattle, but not Seattle either. Definitely not Basildon. So funny.
So yeah, there are a number of great towers around the world. And sometimes you know, very honest mistake to think that it could be the CN Tower. It's very similar. It's actually the Menara Tower in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia.
Oh, wow.
So just to the right of that view is where you have the Petronas Towers, which look something like... so this is the Menara Tower. And then to the right of it, we have the Petronas Towers right here. And in order to get this view, you need to buy a cocktail. So no problem for me.
I'd have to have a mocktail. But anyway, moving on.
Those are some of the best business expenses. You're like, well, I had to get the photo.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Cool. So we've dropped in 2 images here, bit of breathing room. So this is a collection of 2 cities. So again, this one is actually Kuala Lumpur, and this is Hong Kong. And let's add in a bit of a text caption. So again, keeping it very simple. And let's go. Where's my caption? Scroll down.
I'm willing to bet that you've got, in the metadata for that image, I'm willing to bet you've got a description that includes that could be a caption.
I wish. I
would be amazed
if
your images weren't metadated up to the nines.
The trouble is, this is the one area. This is my dirty closet that you found, where, you know, that's where all the mess goes. That area of photo organization, unfortunately, I'm in too deep. I've got too many hundreds of thousands of images, and because I've not done it, we're just left where we are. So now I don't have that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What I do have, though, in Lightroom is organized by year, then the location, and then the city. But that doesn't attribute to the actual photo, unfortunately. It's just the catalog.
Oh, I just thought you might be able to pull it in that way. That was where I was going with it.
Yeah, no, I see that, but unfortunately not. So character styles, so I've got just a white one. And the caption, you'll see that I've created, again, just a rule over the top. This is where you can be either a little bit clever, but also you have to be careful not to mess things up. So with my caption, I added a paragraph rule, so rule above, and I've added a right indent of 30 mil. Now, of course, that works when you set your width, your text box, to a certain size. But of course, if I make this text box massive, suddenly that rule is huge, and it might not give the effect that I want. So you sort of have to find your ground with it, and then, you know, make your piece with how you want it to fit. So I'm potentially, do I want this above? Do I want it below? Let's play around.
Okay.
So I often play things around, and I'm already thinking that one thing I may wish to do with this image, I'm not sure I have my catalog available, is actually just go and clone out this sort of sign here, just because it's a little bit distracting. It may look like it's potentially something in the book.
Okay. Well,
That's a
Option
thought
double
process I
click
have.
it, and it'll launch it into Photoshop.
Yeah. All right. Let's do the let's do it this way.
Okay.
See, this again, this is where, you know, it's good to have feedback on different things, because in my sort of like viewpoint and stuff, it's always like, no, let's go back to the original. Let's do this. But then at the same time, if I sent that image off as a print and me knowing that the text wasn't there, I was like, oh, but this isn't the original. The original had a sign. I quite liked the sign, but in the book.
I see.
Then I'm like, where do we want to sit with this? My Photoshop has gone massive. Cool. So,
By any chance, have you just a quick one, because I found out what was acting up with Photoshop for me last week was I had, in order to use a couple of features that aren't supported fully by the emerging new Photoshop, I had disable native canvas checked in the preferences, and that was causing all sorts of rendering errors in
just
Photoshop.
double checking the spelling of Kuala Lumpur there. It's like, it is just an A, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Kuala, I think. Yeah.
Interesting. I found Photoshop at the moment. So I'm using an M1 Mac Mini, and
Yeah.
it is rapid. I've never had I've never had a smoother experience in Photoshop. So let's have a look at our healing options. So we could go actual. Let's try this. So I never normally do just the blank spot. I would always choose an area. But let's just see what it does. 'Cause there's been big improvements to this.
Oh, the spot healing brush.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clever now.
Let's see what it's going to do. Let's see. Doing it in one brushstroke. Boom.
Not bad. There you go.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Tidy ups.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we could spend a little bit of time doing some extra tweaks on things there, but otherwise, happy to do that. And let's go. Oops. Let's save this as a new folder. Give it an underscore to put it to the top. Let's call it edits, and to give it a little bit of a title, sign tweak. Yeah, fine with that.
Nice.
So if we now head back into InDesign, is this going to update? Or have I got to replace it because I give it?
No, it should update if it's linked between the two. You might need to just go to the
the links panel.
Go to the very top of the image, see if there's a hazard triangle, and click on it. And that's interesting. That you might need to relink it, Joe, to your edit, because you did a save as. It's no longer the same file. So just in that, relink.
Edits.
There we go.
Oh, because I've done it as a PSB. That's interesting. Let's go again.
There we go.
And let's go relink.
There we are.
Interesting. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it doesn't know how to unwrap that. That is interesting, actually.
Yeah. Do you know what? I love that PSB just stands for Photoshop Big.
Yeah.
Just big.
I know.
What is it, guys?
Keep it
big.
simple. Yeah, big. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Sean didn't know about PSB. Yeah, that's true, Sean. Photoshop Big. It's the large and extraneous file format that Photoshop can use within itself to optimize speed and also to contain loads of other things. So, handy format.
Cool. So I'm happy with this. This is, just a very simple little layout
Yep.
of options. Let's move on to some others, and then let's add in a little bit of some extra sort of like running flourishes and things. So things like page numbers, and I may even go and experiment with some drop caps. Those could be fun. So again, let's create an image frame. So I'm going to do this a different way this time. Creating an image frame first. And let's place this one. Let's go for an overprint. And maybe not. Let's do like I'm going to call this a tabbed style. We're going to have an image come in off the side.
Yeah, side feed.
We're going to have, there we go, correct terms. And then we're going to have some text over here. And again, one of the practices that I do is I add in title options into my slug so that they pull with every page. And then if you do Command, Shift, and click, you then got access to those, drag them into place.
Yeah.
It's maybe a lazy man's way of doing things, but one of the things that it does sort of protect is making sure that you've always got paragraph styles attached. And I think of it that way because quite often, I know for this project I'm working on it myself, but quite often if I'm working with someone else and they're not in tune with the paragraph styles that are being used, and then they start building something together, they choose a different paragraph style, then they go and change it manually. Someone else comes back and updates things and it messes the whole thing up. So I like to try and give people a good starting point of saying, no, this is the paragraph style that this is supposed to be. So let's go.
And that's a common mistake with paragraph styles, Joe, is that people in that very first part of the dialogue where they use based on, which is useful when you're in control of doing that. But the thing you should never, ever, ever do is base it on the base paragraph style, the application paragraph style. And that's the trap people fall into, because if they send the document off to somebody else, their basic paragraph style may well be a different definition to yours, and it throws everything into chaos.
Yes, definitely. It's chaos is not what you want in a design agency, but it's often what you find.
Chaos, no good. Oh, Kirsty's just turned up in the chat. Hi, Kirsty. And Annika, by the way, was saying earlier, Photoshop and Photoshop and Illustrator, both faster on an M1. And Nitin's envious. Can't wait to get hold of his M1.
I've also, I've been editing and doing everything on my M1 since, so I got the Mac Mini in March, I think it was. And Premiere as well. I kind of feel bad for my MacBook Pro. I bought it at the end of 2019, and a laptop you buy with an intention to travel with, and it's just sat on my desk. I've not even been out and about with it, and now I'm using another cheaper desktop machine that is outperforming it. It's crazy.
No, we use Mac Minis in here, mate. Mac Minis, older ones with GPUs attached. By the way, I said when I was talking about Nitin just then, I have no idea. I've never met Nitin. I said his. I meant to say there, because I do apologise, Nitin. Sorry if I incorrectly gender tagged you. So sorry. But hey ho. Don't know why I came to that conclusion, but they are.
So they
are great machines.
Mac aficionado.
Yeah, I love them. Absolutely love them. And not only that, I'm not going to shell 20 grand out for a machine of the spec I need for a big tower anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go for this one. Okay. So going for our side image. Now I could work on a few different ideas of this. So I've got this sort of kind of zoomed in detail. You notice I've also added in an extra title size. So this is my oversized header. And what text could we put on this? I don't want to do just, plain boring Paris, but at the same time, let's just start with that. You find you start to work on different things as you're changing idea. But as you'll also notice, this image originally was a landscape image, and I've taken my side bleed and let's go fitting, fill content. Yeah. So we could take like almost like a zoomed in smaller form factor of the same image.
Oh, yeah. Is that where you get the whole? Yeah. Nice.
Maybe I'm gonna overlap these a little bit. And then let's bring in some big text. That's on my wrong layer. If you're wondering about this this blocking color, I've got my H&Js switched on. So H&Js is hyphenation and justification.
Justification,
yeah. Which I, for the life of me, can't remember where it's even stored. I turn it on and then
go to type. Third one down.
Third one down. Type, and
I thought it was in there.
No.
If not,
guides.
I'll find that for you. I thought it was in type, but there you go.
There we go.
Composition.
Substitute font, possibly.
Yeah, that's normally the indicator. Salmon is normally the indicator. The salmon pink there is normally the problem there.
Maybe it's not loaded my fonts correctly.
I was just thinking, you haven't got a character from anywhere else in it, have you? But no, you can see there's nothing beyond the extent of that frame. Just a curiosity.
So here's a common confusion that arises. Rotating text.
Yep.
Are you a top-down or a bottom-up person? Because if you ever noticed, books from America versus Europe are different.
Yeah. I tell you what I did, my berry, Joe, and what I do is I base it normally on the leading or ending character and see which one has a bar that I can use to make it look like it's either hanging, which is working here, or standing the other way. So
interesting. Okay. But for this point, I'm going for a top-down approach, which I always think of if it's on a book spine. When you lay the book flat, it's legible. But oddly, in America, I notice on DVD covers and things, they are top facing up. So when you lay it down, it's then upside down, which...
It does depend if you lay it on its face or its back. I think Sandrine, if I remember correctly, Sandrine had a discussion, came up with something in a previous stream, an InDesign stream, mentioned something about the conventions for text on the spine.
Oops, I got a caps lock on. So I'm going to add in short description. Let's just copy a little bit of this placeholder text. We don't want too much.
Yeah, the vast majority of my books have it. Yeah, have it that way, have it the same way. So from the cover leading away, this way down.
All right. So we've pieced together just using some of the existing paragraph styles and other things. Now let's take it back to our master pages. So if you're wondering about working on your own layouts and how you can have the same sort of details come across into every page, open up your pages window and go to your A master. You can also have multiple different masters. You could have Did I just accidentally move a page? You can also have different masters for different occasions. But to save on time, we won't go into that. So yeah, double click into your A master, and then any changes you make here will be populated across all the pages that have that master selected. So we're going to go for a page number. Now, before you ask and say like, do I have to just type in the number every time? No. So again, page numbers, you can have so much control with a page number. So let's go to type, object and insert. Where am I looking here? Where am I looking? Text variables, insert variable, and
we can do a running header.
Is running header the page number?
Oh, no. In that case, you are right. Okay. What you want to do if you want a page number is you need to insert a special character. So it's not in text variables. And what you'd need to do is do it on the master page.
Yep.
Yeah. Which you're on. And then go, yeah. So just create a text frame with a piece of text, just a text frame.
Yeah.
And then you can do insert special character. Bit further down there, and
there we go.
There you go.
Markers looking in the wrong place. I knew it was there somewhere. So for the moment, it's put in A because A is the A master. If you had a different master name, it would be like that. And let's create a new paragraph style called page number. And let's base it on the same font as the header, but we don't want it that big. Not at all. So maybe a little bit. I like the idea of kind of big page numbers, but we can also experiment and see how we think with smaller page numbers. And let's center these. And let's give it a little bit of a rule below as well. Might look cool. 1, 2, and
nice. Kath Redstone has just been given 50 extra points by me for she said verso and recto, and that's not the wrong way around. It's fine. It's all good. Which is the correct terminology for book pages, left and right facing pages, verso and recto.
There we go. I love all the little terminologies of things.
If you ever want to discover all of that stuff, this is you and the community, what you want to pick up is a copy of Hart's Rules. That's HART''S. Hart's Rules gives you the definition for all of those things in book production. Tells you all about them, tells about their proper names, tells you about their interpretations and where they vary between US and UK and other countries, and all sorts of great resource. I should have one in here actually somewhere.
Hearing Hart's Rules, that just reminds me of Tony Hart, creator of Morph.
Tony Hart, yeah, bit of gallery. The gallery that we'll be enjoying on Thursday evening, Joe, when we're looking at people's submissions to win prizes on the Discord in the submissions channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I wonder if Tim could conjure up something that played that do music in the background that Tim would never have heard, by the way.
I'm going to create a new layer. I'll just call this one admin. And so this is, I guess, editorial, beyond. It's not so much about the content of the page, it's how you interact with the page. Oh, so many memories.
Tim's just piping some music through right now. Fantastic. Thank you, Tim.
All right, so now that I've pasted in page number, Where we went quite bold before with the size, I'm immediately thinking, nah, it's too big, isn't it? Too big. Let's go back. Let's go back. So, in fact, I don't need to do that.
Go bigger. Go bigger.
Bigger.
You see, yeah, I'd make a feature of it. I'd probably park it in the corner and go real big, but
Like
knock it
massive.
back. Yeah,
All
massive, but knock it back.
Let's experiment. Let's experiment. So we can leave that one over there as a reference. So you reckon we could go like big, big.
Big, big. Yeah, go big, big.
Big, big. Big, big. Like 40 odd, big, big.
Oh, 140 odd.
140 odd. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Big, big, big.
Big, big, big.
So 148. Let's see how we look.
Yeah, that's getting closer to what, and then just with the style, not the color back a bit. So just change it to, I don't know, a tint of about 30%, 20-30%.
Yeah. Well, and then
so big, so big.
Like an overprint sort of style.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah,
just
crank the opacity back. Just crank the opacity down to something like, I don't know, maybe 20 is a good thing, I think. Yeah, there you go. Nice, and it's not going to be too obtrusive in the page, I think.
Let's have a look.
The only problem you're going to have, though, is because that's center aligned just there, is that you might have a problem when you get to double digits. So what you could do is change the alignment for left edge and right edge. So you go page edge instead. Anyway, it's your book, man.
No, it's good. Like this is why it's great to have input from other people, because sometimes you can, I'm definitely one to spend a lot of time focusing on small little details for a grand time. And when you're doing those things, you can get lost in it. Likewise, when you're trying to like work on it, but also demonstrate how it can be done for other people to follow along and get involved with. Extra set of eyes and brain power helps pull it along. So you're saying
go to the indents and change the alignment from you're in the right place there, I think, with
let's have a look on an actual double page first. See, what is that? Oh, that's a 4.
14, it's page 14, isn't it?
Yeah. I was looking at that thinking it was like it glitched.
So indents and spacing, and change the alignment from center
to right.
What you could do, actually, go back to the options again, because I can't remember off the top of my head all the options. You can you could do towards spine.
Yeah.
There you go. And that'll do it. So it'll pull it in on either side. Stuart's mentioning Ray Gun magazine. There's an awesome anthology of Ray Gun magazine, which you might just be able to see on my bookshelf if I move it forwards. There we go. Awesome book. You know Ray Gun, Joe? David Carson?
I know the name, but I don't know the... I haven't looked at the contents of it.
Oh, epic. Epic stuff. Yeah, see, I think that's kind of cool. I mean, what I'd do is I'd probably run one out and see if it needed knocking back any further.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we do it this way, maybe we only have it on the one page. Like we don't need 2 big page numbers, in which case we're now going to do this. We did towards spine, so that's fine if we move it across.
Yeah, grand, because that's it. And it's in the sort of thumb region of the page as well, that area where, because when we hold books, we hold them in that. So that's why there's quite often a generous margin to the right to allow for that, or at least in one of the canons there is.
I can imagine, people holding it and being like, what page am I on? And, oh, there it is. Like...
Yeah, there you go. Around. It's right under your thumb. There you are.
I mean, if you can't work out the page number on this beastly thing. Okay, I am actually going to knock that back further. And that reminds me, we should get into doing some color.
Yeah. There you go. I think that's nice.
For color, I actually have a little bit of a system that has worked well for me. So I've just switched over to Photoshop, and let's create a new. Yeah, let's just do that. Doesn't really matter on the size. Although let's actually have it the other way around. Oops, they're linked. So I should have this saved in my CC libraries. Let's go to... So I've got color themes that I've saved as a swatch library. No, it's even older than that. Maybe this one? Yeah. Yep. So that's fine. So I created a thing a while back that served me well for my current website design. And I am in the process of wanting to brand differently. So I'm actually using this book as just a little bit of a playground to find some new fonts and find some new colors and things that I can work with. And yeah, so this, if we open up into the smart object that it is, and let's just give a background so we can see what we're looking at. So these are a series of shapes. And if we go in, so we just got single, just rectangle. And if I remember correctly, I think it was the second or maybe the third column I created as a color. And then, so let's see. Yeah, so grays and then grays with key. Yeah, so I created these shades of gray as my sort of primary idea. And then I created a key color, which in this case is this, and I've set it to a 10% value. So it's just this sort of basic blue. And then just overlay it across all of them, and then you get different hues. But they all consistently have the same luminosity to them. So in a digital environment, it works really well because you can essentially, if I created a whole new thing, so we've got some blues here, let's just duplicate this down and give it some space. And now, if I go through and I select, I don't know, let's give it a new color. Let's go for like a green. Let's find something that's kind of interesting. So maybe like that. And now if I go through and I change all of these swatches, or I could even link it as like a smart object and, you know, whatever. But now I've just created a series of greens that will match side by side on brightness value collectively.
Yeah.
And so I worked with that as a system for a while.
Good system.
I'm not sure if I will do it again going forward. Primarily just because I did find myself feeling quite limited sometimes. And because I'd created such a system, it wasn't even like a loose system. It did start to sort of, you know, draw into things where it's like, you know, these are my limitations, and limitations are good to an extent. So yeah, I don't know if I would do it. I also haven't admittedly experimented too much with how this comes out in print. So it could be disastrous for print.
That green's going to be problematic in the middle at the bottom.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have that brightness at all.
No.
And then also just for sort of visual reference, more just a case of when I'm coding and building things, rather than always copying and pasting the swatch or like taking the eyedropper and, you know, opening up. I just wrote the hex value in there. And a quick way of doing that, if you have the eyedropper, just right click, you got copy colors, hex code. But it's good to just also have it labeled because sometimes when you're just like cross-referencing, you just have to know that like, oh, this is my 30373B gray.
Yeah.
Good to label.
Do you ever use the color theme tool in InDesign? Do you ever use that?
Never so much in InDesign. I used to do that a lot in Illustrator, actually.
Oh no, this is a different tool. They're not the same thing.
Oh,
This is
okay.
a
Go on.
different tool. So let's say, for example, you wanted to
Go to my
change the
Google screen.
color of the word Paris to reflect some colors from the image that was alongside it. So
Okay.
you just go and grab an image and drag it in,
Yeah.
or drag it.
Let's say this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what you can do is switch to the color theme tool. So if you tap I on your keyboard, right, and then just, I can't remember if it's tap I again or go and long press on it in the toolbox. Long press on the eyedropper in the toolbox. Choose the color theme tool.
I. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, that's it. Click on the image.
Yeah.
Okay. Just simple click on it, and it should give you. You don't need to hold anything down, any sampler down, or shouldn't need to. If it's not behaving properly, which doesn't look like it is, then do hold down the Option key or the Shift key.
It's picking up a color. Okay, let's do dragon.
I'm just wondering if it's something to do with because it should actually be showing you a palette. It's interesting that it's not. You've got no keys held down, no?
Nope. Do you reckon it would work across layers, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it needs to be. Is the image layer locked?
Nope.
No. Okay. Just try one more time. There you go. That's what you're getting, and then you can.
I was selecting the text first.
Aha. There you go. So you can do that. You can choose from those variations, and then you don't need to do it. You can either add one set or all of those sets to your document using the icon on the right, or select one of the colors from one of those ramps. So just arbitrarily any color there, that gray, for example, just drag across that text.
Yeah.
And it will apply it to that text straight away. You can even do it to fragments down to the character level. So if you drag, for example, across the RIS with a different color. I think you've got the object there. But anyway, it's you can do it.
Interesting.
It's a whole different tool then.
Yeah, I've never used this before. Is there a way that I could set up like a primary value, a secondary, tertiary, or whatever, and then have that dynamically change based on what I input?
At the moment, and indeed since that tool's existed, all you've got are the interpretations that it has. So I think it's like 5 different algorithms that run for bright, muted, and whatever the others are.
Right.
But no, that would be a nice thing to ask for on InDesign's user voice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's create some swatches here. So I've just got a box, and I'm just going to create some large boxes.
Yeah.
And we will just fill these with some color. And I'm going to start with just 3 to start with. And I'm just going to have a play around, to be honest. Let's see what we can find. So I want like a gray that's not too like dark, but also maybe has a bit of a color undertone to it. And then, in fact, I'm actually going to do this in Photoshop. Let's go hide all of these. So let's find some sort of gray that's on the, what would we call this? Like 15% off. So maybe like 85% black. And then I kind of want it to have a bit of a warm tint to it. Now let's drag across. So again, this is something you can spend days or weeks.
Oh yeah, I know. Just getting that. I don't know if you know Muscatine, Bert Drees, but Bert never has an off-the-shelf black in any of his work. He always likes to have a hint of colour in there, and he spends ages picking what he wants.
See, that's where my colour system actually really helped, because it gave a rationale behind why things were a certain colour. So it is a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's you might
there's an application called Color Constructor that you might like. Mm-hmm. That's where you can input a set of values and it will generate you things based on that. I don't know, have you used it before? Have you come across it before?
Not Color Constructor. I've used a number of other ones. So there's so it's like the Adobe Capture one. What's that? I can't remember what the color tool is called in that.
No, it's color.adobe.com, so it comes from the same class. There is the color theme module in Capture, but color.adobe.com.
Color American or color?
Color American, yeah. Well, actually, I've got to tell you that it's not working at the moment. Oh, there you go. And Tim, I think, just said both work in my ear, so that's cool.
Direct. Nice. Okay.
How thoughtful.
Let's play with this. So contrast checker, good to know for accessibility. Cool. Skip through. There was a website that I used many years ago. I don't know if it's still around, called Color Lovers, and it was a social network about posting color palettes. Yeah. So you just go on and you browse, and just like on things like Instagram, you swipe through and you see images and things. Color Lovers, you go through and you just share the love of color. Coolers
does that. So COOLRS, Coolers does that, and that's I love all of that stuff though. People discussing color, and then there's the theme generator based on movie stills as well, where people extract like 12 different tones from colors and tones from a particular movie still.
Yeah,
it's good stuff, Joe. Good stuff to have a formula.
I can see losing so much time in this.
That's not losing, it's an investment.
Is there a way on this that I can drop down the saturation, or would I have to manually?
No, you can edit any color just there. You can change. You can start out with a theme as you're doing at the moment. You're using Analogous, but you can click on any of those swatches and change the values. Now, at the minute, you're looking at RGB sliders, so you can change that. Can you see color mode on the left-hand side? Yeah, so you can change that. You can use HSB if you want to do it by saturation.
Yeah, let's go for...
There you go. And so you can just model your brightness and saturation components. So you're keeping the hue.
So this was kind of what my color system was based upon, I guess. And then if we drop that down, this is where we're getting. So yeah, those kind of grays that just have like a little bit of a blue hint to them.
Yeah,
I really enjoy. Or you want a bit of a warm hint, but you got to be careful with these because again, they can look quite muddy sometimes.
Yeah, it's just getting that sweet spot.
Yeah. And it's something that you tweak a lot. If I now change that to CMYK, is that gonna? Does. Brilliant.
Well, I mean, you're going to get some variation. HSB and CMYK should pretty much be okay, provided it's within the CMYK gamut. So
yeah,
so it's not going to mix or anything. It will shift if it goes.
Let's not spend too long doing that. So I'm going to create a new swatch in InDesign, and I'm just going to copy over the values. I'm assuming there's probably a way that you could save it, maybe.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you can. So you're signed in. So what you can do is you can just download it to one of your libraries, or you can bring it in as. Oh my word! Suddenly forgetting the extension for color library files, but.
Let's just do this. We're learning on the fly here. This is a great tool. I don't know how I didn't know that it existed. I knew of the app, but sometimes going from like desktop back to smartphone is just a workflow that It may save you
There's a
time in the long run, but it's, yeah.
there's a
comes
little
comes
game
back.
you can play on there as well on colors.adobe.com, which is actually helping to train an AI.
Interesting.
So super useful. And it's you can
Like
also
the,
you can drag an image into
captures
ASE. Thanks, Catherine. So ASE files, so you can download them as an ASE file as well.
So now that I've created this, can I just choose?
Yeah, just click one and it should change. Make sure that the fill has focus. You might need to just add those to the swatches. No, that's odd. Right click it, Joe.
Oh, that changed it.
Add theme to swatches. Right, okay, did work.
There we go.
Because you double clicked on it, so it was in edit mode. That was what it was. I was looking at stuff underneath it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we've created a few different swatches, and this is kind of in the way of my microphone. Let me move this up.
Cool.
And collapse that down. All right. So now that we've created our swatches, and as we've discovered many millions of ways of finding color, we can go through and we can update our paragraph styles. So let's go for starting off with our oversized header, which is actually based upon our header. So let's maybe go into our header, and then character color. So at the moment, everything is just set to default of black, but we now have these new swatches that we created. And I'm going to enable this one. Tap OK. You notice that the page number, which is also based off the header, has taken that on board. And let's go for the body. And let's have a browse. Let's go for that slightly lighter one. See how we feel about that. Can you tell the difference?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ever so slightly. And oversized, I think, actually gets the same treatment. But do we want the same treatment? Oops. Nope.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I kind of like the darker one. See, the lighter one, to me, when it's so big, it's kind of like it's neither here nor there.
Right.
So I might stick with the dark, but again, you know, things change, things adjust. And what I'm also going to do is go into my master and turn on. And now I'm going to change my swatches over here. So we've got our visual representation of the colors that we're using in the document. And in fact, do we have one of those twice? I think we do. And I'm also going to rename it. So let's just call this one dark primary. And I think this might have been a repeat. No, not quite. Let's call this just dark. And then medium. Oh, naming conventions. Did we use this one? I'm not sure if we used that one. I'm going to leave that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, as we go through and we adjust our book layout and our book design, we can now go and add in our colors. So my subheading block, which actually is a piece of text that's got a paragraph rule underneath it. And if we turn that on and off, you'll see that the rule just kind of is visible or not. And it's a rule that I've created at a very thick weight. So we left it at 16. And then we just offset it. So at the moment, it was at minus 4.25. You see that that is obviously how the rule would look underneath. But I change it to minus 4.25 and that brings it up. It's a good little hack of creating like a background color to your text.
Do you know, I was thinking about that earlier and I was wondering if you knew that, which you obviously do now, so that's cool. I learned that from Michael Murphy years ago, who now works for Adobe. He used to be known as the InDesigner.
Good title to have. It's reminding me of something else that I wanted to play around with. Maybe we could do it on. The page is getting a little bit cluttered. Maybe we could do it on this one. So that's another paragraph style, or another idea that I want to work with, is like a tab bit of text that either comes down from the top or comes down from the side. And again, I'm just going to create this as a paragraph style. And then what I'll do between now and the next stream is I'll go through and I'll populate some of the content and see with all of the things that we've been working and tweak the colors, and spend hours and hours tweaking, and start to get to some final things. Because I think in the final stream, what we'll do is we'll publish some ways of how you can sort of promote this book. So, you know, if you wanted to get some images together for your Instagram stories and other things, how you could make it come to life a little bit.
Nice.
So we are basing this on subheading block, which, do I want to do that? Yeah, I think that's fine. And let's give this, go into paragraph rules, rule below. Let's give this a really big tab. And let's go all the way to something like 32. And let's offset it even more. So that gives us a little bit of room. Is that too much of a tab? No, I think that's good. And let's also give it, oops, wrong way. Let's give it a wider space. So -4 to both sides. Yeah, I think that works. I think that's good.
Are you going to set a frame indent as well?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, nice.
Indents and spacing, left indent. What did I set that to? Was it 4? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Right indent. 4. And first, oh, that's the wrong one. Space before. Oh, space before doesn't work on this, does that?
No, you'll need to use the frame options. So if you go to, once you're done with the paragraph style, if you hit Command B, that will get you to the frame options. And then what you can do is you can put some inset space on the top. Yeah, just to get you out of the trim area. So you need to be a good sort of 3 millimeters, ideally, with something like that, away from the trim size, to take into account guillotine creep.
That sounds like an unfortunate insult.
It would be unfortunate in that you'd need to, I mean, obviously you'd need to extend the top of it to take it into the actual bleed, but yeah.
Let's go even further then. I didn't even name it.
I don't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed Joe not naming something in his files. Let us all just take a moment to think about that.
We are in between 7.5.
Nice. But it just goes, I love things like this, Joe, because they're flexible, they work with the text. You know, it's not dragging two things around or creating an unnecessary group.
Mm-hmm. And you hand it off to someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and they hopefully won't break it.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Okay, I'm going to leave it pretty rough and ready there, but cool. So, tab text, and what would we actually put in here? What is something that is fitting to this?
Well, if you're doing it by continents and landmasses, you could say Asia, I guess.
Asia? I was thinking like dreams of Asia.
Oh, okay. Well, very, very flowery. Go do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it fits my vibe, to be honest. Let's stick with this. I think this works quite well. Oh, I like that. The dark in the dark. That works pretty well.
Yeah.
Not so much a fan of these page numbers overlapping like this. At the same time, would I be a fan of it underneath? we're going to work on that. If I don't want a page number at all, I can just Command Shift click
override it
and delete.
Yeah.
Go.
You could also change the blending so that it was maybe set to something like overlay, then it might deal with the contents.
That's true. Let's see how that looks. So let's go doopy-doo. I think maybe something like a soft light might fit. What page was I on? Yeah, see, it's add like a little bit of a across there, but it's I think I'm just gonna not have a page number for this one.
Just override that one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's funny, the amount of overrides and things that you do in print versus digital is actually kind of hilarious. Like the times when I'd work with art directors or whatever, and they'd be like, can we just add like a line break there so that we got like a nice rag to things? And like, yep, cool, can do that. But then when they start doing it for website design and for app design, you're like, I can do it in the mock-up, but is the developer going to do this?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Right. We are running close onto time.
We are not too far away.
Other things that I wanted to drop in, if I've got time. So I've got a series of icons that I've previously created. I use these on my title designs for After Effects. And I wondered if there was a way I could take some of these. I'm not sure if they really fit the typography at the moment, but let's just take this camera icon and let's see what we can create.
Are you going to paste it in as an inline graphic?
Oh yeah, okay. Let's do it that way. So run me through. If we go File, Place, and then I'm gonna have to choose the artboard, right?
I actually did say paste on that particular occasion, but you can place it either way works. And then all you need is a copy on the clipboard, because you would need it on the clipboard at some point. And then just select a piece of text, put the cursor in where you want it, and then just paste, and it will drop it down. But there you need to choose an artboard if you were going to.
Is this the right file? Looks yes. So
get it to the size you want it, more or less.
Well, that's pasted in. All the artboards, thankfully, are all square, so that's all good. And then I can go to
layer options.
Yeah. And how do I choose my artboard?
You wouldn't do that there. Sorry, you'd need to do that. You need to do that on place, really. Or you could try relinking. But it'd be quicker for you to just place again.
Let's just.
Or stick with your original and just paste it if you want to.
We're doing this. So
there you go. Resize it and then
create this. And let's also create an object style icon. Give it a fill. Let's go for a white icon. Do we want to add anything else? I think we're all good for now. And let's resize this down.
Yeah. Just while you're doing that, I'll just remind everybody that there's a challenge this week. You could win a year's Creative Cloud and a book, which we'll show you again in a minute, because Emma wants us to have a do-over of the book handoff. Right, but the book happens to be this one. We'll do the handoff bit shortly. Okay, but you could win a copy of those things. All you need to do is to create a spread. So that's 2 pages to view, a spread layout that contains at least 2 images, and then some text, a heading, optional subhead, and some body text. Create a layout and go along to our Discord channel. The link for that just coming up, or just arrived actually, inside of the chat. And go to the stream submissions, drop it in there, and Joe will have a look at it. Somebody will win good stuff. Okay, all good there now, Joe?
Yep, I think so. I'm going to work out how we want these flourishes to work. So I'm just, my sort of rationale of what I'm thinking here is this could be a multi-level book. We could have a book, that's maybe like Asia and we've got Asia images, and then we can have another section that might be more like information guide based, where we're talking more on locations. And so we can take our location pin here and we could paste that in, or we could even set you know, all encompassing together, because locations obviously have images and everything. We can play around with it, but again, just demonstrating variety of options. And I should have set these to the same size, but we are running out of time. So yeah, maybe I want to have the location pin instead and have it just outside a little tab.
Nice, looks good.
Um,
oh, sorry. I was just going to say that Steve in the chat was asking when the deadline is. So arbitrarily, I've chosen 9 a.m. Friday morning, UK time-ish. I think that's fair enough.
Do we have time to just try and attempt a quick little drop cap? Because I think...
Yeah, of course we do. For you, Joe, absolutely. We're all right. We've got like 4 minutes. We're good.
All right, so this is something I want to experiment with. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to like it, but let's give it a go. So I've got my paragraph style here, body columns, and let's go drop caps and nested styles. Okay, so drop cap. Oh, I need to create a character style first. Let's just go this character style, new drop cap 1, because we may have different options. And let's set our size. So if I leave the font family and font style blank, then we should be good to just let the size take over. Leave the leading for now. Let's see what happens. Okay, and we actually don't want that applied. Now if we go to our body columns, drop cap 1, and we'd only want it on the first paragraph. So, Tony, you might know this. Is it better for me to create a paragraph style for paragraph 1 of my all-encompassing paragraph style? Or is there a way to only target the first paragraph in a collection?
I would do it the first way. I would create a body first, paragraph style, and then make sure that the next style is set to, you know, your regular body copy.
So, let's do this, and let's do... Did I just repeat the word copy with copy? I was just translating it differently. It's like, no, it's not
fine,
duplicate.
it's fine.
It's text copy. And let's give this one... Yeah, so next style will be body columns. Copy in typographical term, not duplicate.
Yeah.
This one is body columns first, and then all of the above, or all of the below, rather.
Yeah.
And now we can do drop caps. Drop cap 1. First line, first character, and interesting. Let's go a little bit larger. And positioning. What is my best way of getting this dropped down?
So you want the text to run alongside it, and so that its baseline is shifted. You go to the drop cap options. No, change the number of lines.
Ooh.
No, in that case, what you would need then is you would need a character style. I think, that overrode that. I can't remember how to do a full drop cap, you know.
Yeah, this is you know, it's number of lines. I've just set.
Yeah.
I was setting my size based on this. In which case, I actually don't need to set the size because the size comes from the line.
Yeah.
And in fact, what I want to do is I do actually want to change the font. Let's go for this.
Cool.
And let's see how we look. Drop cap style. There we go. Multiple lines.
There we are.
Cool. So.
Nice.
Briefly done, but a number of different options that could hopefully, you know, give you some inspiration of things that you might want to play with. I'm going to go and tweak this design and layout and bring it along further and populate it with some actual text. So
fantastic.
We're working with. And yeah, catch up later on Friday, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely that. Yeah, join us on Friday to see how this all wraps up, and of course find out who's won the layout challenge, which is a great. Do you know, I cannot believe how quickly this one has gone. When I looked at the clock in the corner of the screen a little while ago and just thought, oh my word, it was like 1:10. I had no idea it just flown by. Great stuff, Joe. Lots of activity in the chat as well. People really enjoying it. Lots and lots of good comments in there, and people asking good questions as well. So another great job, Joe. Nice one.
Thank you. Yeah, this is it's fun to get back down into the rabbit hole of design. As you can tell, I'm a little bit rusty on a few things, but it's definitely something that I'm just going to run with and roll with, and potentially lead on to future self-branding ideas that I want to do for the next 4 to 6 weeks or so, I think, in the background.
Nice. Okay,
so
cool.
There's inspiration from this. You'll see it.
There you are. So don't forget, people, go ahead, join in, get involved in the challenge, win a year's Creative Cloud and this amazing book that I'm just going to pass over to Joe right now.
Oh, it's the wrong way.
We'll try one more time so Emma's happy. So I'm going this way.
No, you need to go the other way.
I need to go the other way. Oh, I do. It's me that's letting the side down. Oh, no. There we go.
Yeah, so then I take it this way.
Oh, okay.
Rehearsals.
This time for reals. There we go. Here we go. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. Come along and see the rest of this hackathon. Okay. On Friday at midday, of course, usual time. And until then, from myself, it's cheerio, and also from Tim and Joe. Take care, Joe.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.